Hi folks, thanks for your interest in the San Pedro Martir Hill Climb. My name's John Magnuson. I'm a 25-year veteran of paved road racing in Baja, California and throughout Mexico. I've raced motorcycles and cars on street circuits, rally races, and uphill climbs. First of all, let me assure you that the San Pedro Martir Hill Climb is probably without peer. It's the longest hill climb in the world at 18 miles, and the road is absolutely delightful. It starts out fast and sweeping at the bottom and tightens as you approach the summit. It's only about a 5-hour drive south from San Diego, California, so it makes it ideal for American competitors as well. If you're new to this type of racing, and in particular new to racing in Baja, California or Mexico, you probably have a lot of questions. In this video, I'm going to try to address questions you might have and give you some useful information about the event, such as how to get there, what should I expect when crossing the border, where I'm going to stay, what's the event schedule like. So bear with me while I give you my very amateur video about this. In the meantime, if you have questions, remember that you can always email us, and also our website, bajatarmacracing.com, has pretty much all this information written online. So that's a good resource as well. Thank you. First of all, where is the San Pedro Martir Hill Climb located? Well, per its namesake, the road rises into the San Pedro Martir Mountains in Baja, California, just about a 5-hour drive south of the California border. The event's hosted by the Meling Ranch. It's a hotel and ranch. Was founded about 100 years ago by Norwegian immigrants, and their descendants still operate it to this day. Time to switch to an old school paper map. So here you go, northern Baja, California. If you're coming from San Diego or Southern California, you're in luck. It's probably not going to take you much more than half a day or maybe even less to cross the border and get to our event. People do come from all over North America. Our Canadian competitors in particular seem to be really good at making a really awesome family vacation out of this event. We have people drive all the way from New England, East Coast, Mexico City. We do have rental bikes available, so people do fly in from overseas or from more distant locations and rent a bike, which can be picked up either in San Diego or Tecate. Or we can arrange to pick you up and transport you and the bike all the way down to the race. Some people ship their own bikes from overseas. We've had competitors from France and Britain and Ireland. If you need help storing or transporting a vehicle that you're having shipped, please do reach out to us. Are you nervous about traveling in Baja? Well, if you've never done it before, I can't say I blame you. So why not join our racer caravan? 2 days before the event, in the morning, a group of experienced racers who have done this many times before will depart from a location in San Diego, California, travel through the U.S. to the Tecate border crossing. We'll then cross as a group and travel south down the highways with a lunch stop and arrive at the event sometime in the afternoon. This is an excellent way to travel with a group of people who've done this many times before and can show you the ropes. Make sure you reach out to us if you want more details on joining our caravan. So for a lot of you, the first challenge to getting to our event is right here, the U.S.-Mexican border. But fear not, it's really not that hard, particularly in Baja, California, where they require no special import permits whatsoever. You have a few options as to where you cross into Mexico. There are 2 crossings near San Diego. They're both pretty big and busy. There's a small crossing out in the country in Tecate. And some more crossings out east in the desert near El Centro, Mexicali. We strongly recommend that you take the Tecate border crossing. It's much quieter, it's not busy. The Mexican customs officials are generally very nice and willing to work with you. All right, folks, so now you've arrived at your Mexican border crossing. What do? Well, if you happen to have a motorcycle that you're racing or a car that you're racing that looks pretty much like a street vehicle, drive it on across. 95% chance they're not going to stop you. However, it is important if you have a van, a loaded truck or trailer, you're transporting a motorcycle, you're towing a car, you've got any type of van, you got to go into the something to declare lane. All right, they can give you a hard time and even try to fine you or something if you go into the nothing declare lane. Now, at the Tecate border crossing, it's very small. It's easy. They'll just point you off to the right. If you take the bigger crossings, like in Tijuana, you need to make sure from the very beginning you stay to the right, because usually those declare lanes are all the way to the right. And if you get stuck to the left, it can be really hard to get over to the customs area. Okay, so now we're assuming that you have a race car and a trailer, or a motorcycle and a trailer, or inside a truck or a van. What do you got to do? Well, they're going to pull you into customs, and the first thing you're going to see is the registration papers for all vehicles. And I mean all vehicles, including trailers. Your tow vehicle, your race vehicle, and your trailer. Okay, this is important. A lot of people, we tell them this over and over, and they just don't believe us. This is not the title. This is not a sticker. I know in some states like Texas, everyone just uses a sticker and they throw away their registration paper. No, an actual registration paper. And if it's dated, it needs to be current. So, this registration paper, of course, has to match the VIN number and plate on the vehicle. They're going to check everything. You can't just say, hey, this is a race vehicle, this is a race motorcycle, this is a race car. Not going to fly. Not going to let you in. All right. So you're good if you got all that. Otherwise, they're going to turn you around, send you back to the U.S. Another thing to be aware of is gas containers. It's illegal to import gas into Mexico. So if you're bringing gas containers, make sure they're empty. Easy. If they're full of gas, they're probably not going to let you dump it into your car right there or anything. They're going to say, turn around, go back to the U.S., try again. Sometimes they'll try to charge you customs duties on things. That's kind of hit or miss. One thing they love to charge you import duties are brand new unmounted tires. So most competitors really don't need to change tires or wheels. But if that's something you feel like you're going to need to do, if at all possible, I suggest that tires be mounted on wheels, like spares. Then you're usually okay. You never know. Other items could be subject to import fees and duties. It's just hard to say. It kind of depends on who you get. We've had some people have to pay a few bucks to import a generator that they use for their tire warmers. But for the vast majority of people, as long as your gas containers are empty, you got current registration for all vehicles, and you don't have any unmounted new tires, you're going to be golden. You'll get through real quick and easy. Okay. Well, a lot of people just have registration paper issues. They've got some race vehicle they never titled. Title's lost. It's a completely non-street legal vehicle. No one wants to issue a registration. What are your options? Okay. Well, there are some. The most common one people do is unloading the motorcycle or car and driving it across separately. If you got a plate on the motorcycle, any plate, or in the car, and it looks relatively street legal and not really garish, there's an extremely low chance they're going to stop you. If you're not carrying anything in the vehicle or on the vehicle, they're just going to wave you on through. And then you can cross your tow vehicle separately and then load again on the other side. Obviously, you need a friend or a crew member who's going to help you with that. Many states will issue off-road registrations for off-road use only. These are perfectly acceptable to Mexican customs. So see if your state has more lax requirements for you to get an off-road only registration. Registration documents from any state or country are fine. There's some services like Race Legal or Montana Title Services, you can Google them, that for a price can very easily get you a registration from another state. Number 4, well, let's just say, here you go. Here's a California registration. Here's an example of a Montana registration. Registrations are really different. There's so many different ones. The customs guys don't know what every state's registration looks like. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Finally, you can enlist the services of a professional customs broker or importer. Some professional race teams that are bringing in a sort of bespoke custom race car will do this. I know basically nothing about it. It's something you got to arrange for way ahead of time and pay a professional. But you can get vehicles across or temporarily imported if you want to engage those services. All right, congratulations. You made it across the border. Buy yourself a taco. Your Google Maps or other navigation services are going to work just fine in Baja. So go ahead and plug the Meling Ranch, Rancho Meling, into your GPS and it'll take you right there. But in case you want me to show you, from Tijuana, you would just head south. Go ahead and take the toll road. Scenic, beautiful, safe. From Tecate, take Highway 3, scenic, safe, through the wine country. Ensenada's a nice city. Stick to Highway 1. There can be some traffic. Might take you a little while. Once you get south of Ensenada, maybe have some lunch there. It gets rural again and no traffic. Stick to the main highway. No problems. All straightforward. Finally, you will reach your turnoff for the Observatory Road, just south of Punta Colene. You'll see an arch. It'll say something about San Pedro Martir National Park, maybe something about the observatory. And you got to take this road for 50 kilometers. The 50-kilometer mark is both where the entrance to the ranch and hotel, the Rancho Meling, which hosts us, that's their entrance, and it's also where the race start's going to be. Now, one thing to make note of is this is a perfectly decent paved road, but it's a lot narrower than the highway. As a matter of fact, the section we race is in pretty darn good condition, but some of the earlier parts in here are a bit chewed up at times. So look out for potholes, look out for dips. Don't worry, the section we race is a lot better. But if you're traveling this, travel it slowly, especially if you happen to hit it at night. Okay, it's really dark. Now let's talk about gasoline really quick. Hopefully your race vehicle is all filled up, but you probably want some extra gas. There is really no gas available at the ranch, and it's a long ways, probably an hour drive to the nearest gas station. So you do want to bring empty gas containers and fill them up. You can fill them up anywhere along the way. Somewhere around the south of Ensenada is good, but do be aware that usually the last gas stop, both for your tow vehicle and to fill up your gas cans, is somewhere around San Vicente. You can't count on gas here at Punta Colene or premium gas. I believe this gas station is not open. If you get all the way to the turnoff for the race and you still haven't gotten gas, your best bet is to continue on. There's a gas station about 20 kilometers down the road, and you'll have to go back and head on up to the event. So make sure you fill up all your gas containers. Okay, you've traveled 50 kilometers from the Coast Highway down the Observatory Road, and you'll get to your turnoff for Rancho Meling. Hopefully your navigation software shows you it just fine. If not, there are plenty of signs that are pretty visible, even at night. The road down to the ranch is not paved. It's a graded, well-maintained dirt road. It can sometimes get a little bit sandy, which can be a little slippery for some motorcycles. If you have absolutely zero dirt road riding experience, you might find the road a little intimidating, but a lot of our racers can go down it at 50 miles an hour on a Gixxer. Any vehicle is fine on this road: car, truck, trailer, RV. Okay, congratulations, you've made it to the ranch. What do you do now? Well, if you booked a room, you'll want to check in. Check-in's inside their dining hall here. Sometimes their little check-in counter at the back of the dining hall is unmanned. Just check around, hoot and holler. Someone will come to you. If you do want one of the hotel rooms or one of the houses, do book well ahead of time. Sometimes it all fills up. We reserve the ranch exclusively for hill climb participants, but you still need to book with the ranch if you want an actual hotel room. Best way to do that is through their website. Make sure you let them know you're part of the race. Otherwise, I highly recommend that you camp. This satellite view doesn't really do the place justice, but it's a beautiful valley. The ranch is the only thing in the whole valley. Beautiful area. The facility's nice with showers and restrooms for everybody, places you can grill and cook. If you're in a van or a truck or a trailer or RV, you'll want to camp down here, park down here a bit to the south, plenty of space. If you're tent camping, most people do it up here on the grass. See a lot of families in there. It's always a good time. There's a pool. So yeah, you're all set up. You can just hang out. If you want food, order it from the dining hall. Order a few hours ahead of time because they usually need to prepare it for you and have an assigned meal time for you. Good food, a little pricey. I suggest you bring your own food and snacks as well. So you're all settled in the ranch. Grab yourself a beer. Now what? Well, depending on how early you arrived, you know, if you arrived a couple days early, just relax. Get ready to do some pre-running at legal speeds on the road the day before the event starts. The first thing you have to attend is a driver and rider meeting the evening before the event. So it's a 2-day event. The evening before the first day, that's the first day of qualifying and practice, you need to be at the ranch for a driver's meeting. It'll typically be it's like a billiards and rec room here in this building to the east. Anyway, people will announce it and so forth. Just make sure, if at all possible, you get to the event a couple hours before sundown on the day before, so you don't miss the driver's meeting. Alright, you've done the driver-rider meeting. Now enjoy your evening. Maybe get some food, cook some food, get a good rest. Do your last little bits of maintenance and checking on your race vehicles. At the driver meeting, they'll announce the time for the first run the next morning. It's usually pretty early, especially on practice and qualifying day. So you're going to need to get up probably quite early and travel to the race start. How do you do that? Well, back up the dirt road to the paved observatory road, which is our race road. Okay, oftentimes the first bike or car will be off at 7:30 in the morning or something like that. So you gotta be there early. The typically somewhere along here, there's a 50-kilometer mark sign. That will be our start line. So how do we handle this? Well, we close down the road, the whole right-hand side of the road. When we're not racing, we do allow traffic to flow on the other side of the road. So your paddock is essentially going to be from this entrance area to the ranch all the way down this road to within maybe 100 yards of the start line. Okay, so you go along the right hand side of the paved road. Just park where you find space. Just make yourself a place on the right hand side of the paved road. Your bike or your race car or even your sport vehicle is fine there. So just get there early, get your bike ready. We'll have plenty of workers there who will give you instructions, let you know how to line up, where to line up, and all that. Don't worry about that now. You'll get plenty of info. So once again, typically early morning, and your paddock is the right-hand side of the road. Some people don't like to ride or drive their race vehicles on the dirt road. It does get them dusty. Some people don't like to ride motorcycles on dirt roads. That's fine. Just make sure you got someone who can load you up in their truck or van or trailer and take you up there. Alright, it's practice and qualifying day. You're going to get typically 2 practice runs, then a bit of a break, and then 2 qualifying runs. You must complete 1 qualifying run to be eligible to win a trophy in the races the next day. So I've kind of marked the course here. I'm going to leave here from right around Rancho Meling. I'm not going to get into details of racing. That's for other videos. And you're going to go all the way to kilometer 80, which I believe is right around here. That's going to be your finish line. Now, what if you got crew that you want out there crew that you want to meet you at the finish line, friends that want to go out and take photos or something, well, that's fine. They got to get out there early before the racers go off, right? Because we close the road. So they got to arrange to get out there real early and get in their spots, and obviously not drive or go anywhere while the road's closed. So talk to the race organizers of the event if you got people you want to get out there to support you or take pictures. So right here is about where the 80-kilometer mark is. Get on the brakes pretty good here because there's a turn. Don't keep accelerating past the finish line. And you can see up here there's a bit of a dirt area. This is actually kind of a turnout and everything. It's not that big. There's a gate here to the park that we close to make sure we block all the traffic. This is basically your pit area at the end of the race. I mean, you're not going to miss it if you're racing. You just keep on going down the road and you'll see everyone stopped here and staff support people. So this is the area where you park your cars, park your motorcycles, and hang out for a while till the last racer makes it up and we close the road again, and then you proceed back down to the start under escort at legal speeds. Okay, now you finished your practice and qualifying runs. Congratulations. Hope you had a lot of fun. You're now free for the rest of the afternoon. Some people like to continue up into the park after the last qualifying run and see the national park, which is a bit beyond where we end our race. It's a beautiful place. There's an observatory, which typically you can't get access to, but we may be able to get special access, and the view is incredible. Sometimes you can see both the Pacific and the Sea of Cortez, 2 oceans, from that observatory peak way up at 9,000 plus feet. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Typically we'll be finished by 3 in the afternoon or something, and we'll have another driver's meeting and results from qualifying, and they'll tell you your start positions for the next day. So the second day, in the morning, you'll have your 2 race runs. Typically it doesn't start quite as early as practice and qualifying did, but same procedure. Go up the dirt road and pit up on the right hand side of the road. We'll get you your starting positions, and you'll get 2 race runs. There's usually not that big of a gap between the race runs, so make sure you got enough gas to do 2 runs in a row, or you got some fuel up here you can put a splash in really quick between runs. And typically the racing will be done, it depends. Sometimes there are some delays. It can be anywhere from noon to early afternoon. And once you're done with your 2 race runs, come on back on down to the ranch. Usually it's an hour or 2, to be honest, while they compile results and double check everything and the times. Just relax. You deserve a beer. There'll be and then there'll be an awards ceremony. We'll give out trophies to the top 3 finishers in every class and the overall winner. And then you are free to go. Some people head back that same day, which usually means you might, at the end of your trip, be in darkness a bit, although you'll be up towards the city areas, so it's not such a big deal. Other people like to spend one more night and leave the next morning. That's what I prefer to do. As far as the caravan, usually that gets kind of split up returning between people who want to go back the same day and people who go the next morning. But by that point, you're familiar and comfortable with Mexico and probably fine with traveling in a smaller group. Okay, you've enjoyed the event and now you're headed home. Or maybe you're headed to the Baja Tourist Cup, which is 2 days later, the same week. That's a pretty wild time trial circuit, like Isle of Man, 10-mile multi-high-speed laps near Tecate, California, just south of the border. People that do that event oftentimes take their time on their return trip, maybe spend a night in Ensenada, do some touristy stuff, and then go to that race. If all you're doing is a hill climb, then you're probably going to head back to the States most likely. It doesn't really matter which border crossing you use. They're all about the same amount of time. U.S. Customs is never a problem for anybody as far as vehicles. They don't really care. So you don't need to worry about showing vehicle paperwork. They, of course, do care about people getting back to the U.S., so you got to have your passport or some type of official ID so you can get back into the States. Anyway, I hope you found this video informative. Sorry it was kind of long and rambling, but people like to know the details, especially when they haven't done this before. A lot of you probably have further questions, and please don't hesitate to reach out to us by email or do use our Baja Tarmac Racing website. It's a great resource. It has almost all this information in writing. All right, thanks for listening.